Alright, Mardu Control, Mardu Planeswalkers, whatever you want to call it. I really feel like Ugin brings a lot to these control decks that felt like they were missing something. In blue-black and black-white, Ugin does a good job of answering problem permanence. In Mardu, because we have Mortify and Bedevil, we didn't really have a problem answering problem permanence, so much that when we played decks like this last season, it really felt like they lacked a consistent flow of card advantage, and Ugin also provides that. Liliana Dreadhorde General seems very reasonable for providing a flow of card advantage as well, so I think she could potentially serve to help that issue as well. We've got a Miser God Eternal Bantu in here, which is a resilient threat that keeps coming back in the long games where they're likely to kill our threats a lot, as well as being away in the mid to late game to like cash in excess lands to draw cards, turn them into something useful. Yeah, Ugin static text feels like it was just kind of stapled on there to be like every Planeswalker has a static ability. I don't know that this deck is bad against Reclamation so much be that it lacks counter spells, so much as to the fact that our deck lacks a clock. Are there goblins in our sideboard? That's the real question. That's probably something I should change. So, one of the things that you can do to make these kind of mopey red decks be better against Reclamation is you can just jam 4 Legion Warboss in the sideboard. I lack double black for this Bedevil, so I think this is a mulligan. London mulligans falling down, falling down, falling down. London mulligans falling down. Do, 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 do. We did it! Step 1, we get to play Magic. Step 2, it looks like they're playing Esper Control, so this card and this card don't have text. I think I have to bottom that. I just need lands. Never lucky. I had a best of 3 today where I had 3 0-land 7-card hands in a row. I had to mulligan. I nearly tattooed. I don't get the last part. That's true. This eventually deals with the Azcanta. Yeah, Oath at least, like, kills baby Teferi after he down ticks. It's like when they play 3 mana Teferi and, like, just draw a card, Oath, like, finishes him. Finish him. Alright, thankfully we got there. Lucky, lucky, lucky. How many lands are in this deck? 26 lands later, of course. 26 lands later. What happened to the 4 Angrath's Rampage? They were key to the deck. Can you explain why you feel Angrath's Rampage is key to the deck? And then I will explain why I think Angrath's Rampage is a card that's bad to the point of being unplayable. Maybe your description will convince me I'm wrong. But Angrath's Rampage is a card that I have been incredibly unhappy with in every deck I have put it into. I'm actually going to keep this treasure map. Maybe it'll beta counter. We found our 4th land the hard way. We flipped the treasure cove. In my opinion, the only reason to play Angrath Rampage in your red-black deck is if you need a way to kill Planeswalkers and you also can't make black mana consistently to cast Bedevil or Vraska's Contempt. I also think that if you are in black-red, this is a premium piece of removal that is very good. I think this card is excellent in matchups like this one, especially in the post-board games, because in the post-board games, this card kills a flipped Azcanta, finishes a Teferi at 1 loyalty, and has the decency to kill Hostage Taker and Thief of Sanity. I think this card is phenomenal right now. If you're playing a black-red deck, you should have some copies of them in a black-red mid-range or control deck. Looking for land still. I think Sarkhan has a place in this deck instead of Huatli. I think Sarkhan could have a place in this deck in addition to Huatli, but I actually kind of like Huatli. She's a card that pumps out tokens as a consistent source of advantage. I could see if I think Huatli's not good enough playing more Ugins. I do think 3 Ugins is not unreasonable. I do love me Papa Ugin. Although, it is also possible that, like, with 2 Lilianas as well, that, like, 5 6-mana Planeswalkers is pushing it. Rude. Alright, they notably do not have access to Absorb this turn. I'm just digging for more Planeswalkers at this point. Like that one. Their graveyard only has 3 cards in it. Yeah, I'm just going to jam Huatli here. You're saying you like Angrath's Rampage to deal with Planeswalkers? So, yeah, if you listen to my description of why I don't like Angrath Rampage, I think if you want to be able to deal with Planeswalkers, you are much better off playing Planeswalkers that you have, playing removal that you have control over which Planeswalker you kill. There are a variety of decks in this format that often have multiple Planeswalkers in play, one of which is much better than the others. So having control over which Planeswalker you're killing is a big deal. They did kill our pet dino. I agree it was rude. Yeah, you also can't Angrath Rampage Tameo off the table, which is a big deal in my opinion. Alright, let's try and draw to a Bedevil here. For some way to take this out.
Exhausted.
And then this is gonna flip next turn, so I'm gonna go ahead and blow this up because it's on 2. It cost me a treasure, but it's worth doing. Yeah, the fact that Blaststone says non-land permanent is important here because it means it doesn't kill my flip treasure cove, because these things still have a converted mana cost of 2 when they're on the backside. My hand's really bad, joke's on you. Although I guess the Oath of Kaya's team up to kill a Teferi, so it's like that's not the Stone Cold Bratwurst. Was that a good draw? How do we feel about that one? Above average.
Go and feast.
I'm gonna hold on to these Oath of Kayas so I can send 2 of them at a Teferi later. I'm intentionally not drawing with my Treasure Coves yet here because my opponent is playing Thought Erasure. So if I draw a good card with these Treasure Coves, I don't want it in my hand on my opponent's turn when they could Thought Erasure me. I'd much rather use these at their end step when they can no longer play discard spells. Huatli looking pretty reasonable here as just a string of 3/3s. Huatli's +2 is also very good against aggro, gaining 3+ life a turn usually. Really glad we're getting a chance to see her in action. I think people write off planeswalkers like this because they're not super common, as opposed to thinking a bit about like situations where they could be really good. Hey Ian, thanks for the 38 months. Welcome back. Perfect. Karn gets a source of card advantage going here. I think because I have Huatli pumping out tokens, I'm not gonna make Karnstructs here because they're pretty likely to have a sweeper at some point here. There's the Karn drawing lands I know and love.
Come, sing the song of fame.
Allow me to sing you the song of my dinos. Thunk. Yep. And like this is game 1, right? So like don't have anything better to do with their removal. Bloodfast in conjunction with Huatli. I'm not sure that I want Bloodfast in this deck. It could be okay maybe. I don't know, like, is Bloodfast better than just like playing more Planeswalkers would be my question. What do you think are the best tools in these colors to disrupt? Nexus and Esper. I don't even think so much we should be asking ourselves what are our tools to disrupt, so much as we should be asking ourselves what are our tools to end the game. So I mentioned when this game started that I think my sideboard right now is currently incorrect, and there should be 4 Legion Warboss in it. I missed adding those when I did the initial look over, and I'm going to add those after this match. The best way to beat the Nexus decks and the Reclamation decks is not just disruption. It's killing them while you have a little bit of disruption. Yeah, I should have played that, whatever. Huatli just doing the... Huatli's been what? They've spent like 3 or 4 cards dealing with Huatli tokens at this point.
Come, sing the song of fame.
Yeah, I guess they were worried about Karn drawing me more Planeswalkers. Yes, playing against Nexus of Fate is basically like playing Modern. You need disruption and a clock. These Oath of Kayas actually mean my opponent's like 6 life lower than their health total says, right? Like they're actually dead next turn if they don't have a counterspell or removal spell. Because Oath just like jumps up and kills them here. Like, Oath isn't good in this matchup, but it's fine here to end the game sooner. Love tap, baby love tap, baby love tap, baby love tap. Get to cut my sweepers. Gosh, the way this sideboard is constructed, I actually have a lot of cards here that are pretty good in this matchup, huh? I think these Banefires will probably become the Legion Warbosses, which means they still come in here. Yes, Legion Warboss is the card that can pressure them. Get a couple more cuts here. Maybe I don't need Bedeck. Oh, Oath of Kaya. Oath of Kaya is a good cut. Yeah, and Bedeck. Oath is an easy cut that I was missing. And then I was mentioning that Bedeck is okay here. But I think because I have Mortify, Bedevil, and Contempt, I probably have enough ways to kill Thief. So this seems fine. think this is the worst of the cards that are left in my deck. And, like, this deals with flipped Azcanta, too. This hand's a little bit soft to Thief because I don't have an untapped land for my Mortify, but eh. Hey, Marty, good evening. Drew another good one at least. This is, what's happened here is a fantastic example of why I pretty much just don't mulligan in these matchups if my hand has lands and spells, because they're just going to rip your hand apart anyways. So you might as well keep anything that can cast spells that you draw off the top. Play the black land first in case you draw a Duress. That is a good thing to point out. I agree with that suggestion. I'm going to play this and just not sacrifice anything. The fact that that got absorbed, I think, is a win for me. He makes Ugin marginally more likely to resolve, who then makes Liliana more likely to resolve. Yep.
Another time, Planeswalker. The fabric of the multiverse.
Look at that. Board presence and card advantage wrapped up in one sweet little package. Digging for some land drops here, perhaps. Or Thought Erasures. Poor Liliana. I hardly knew ya. One Planeswalker, please. A land's a lot like a Planeswalker. It's like Planeswalker adjacent, right? Use it to cast a Planeswalker.
Let's slow this down. I suppose that's how
Hi,
it's meant to
Felicia.
happen. No time for a break.
Yeah, Despark's a good flexible card, for sure. Fact that attack Reclamation too is really nice. So, because my opponents already played 3 discard spells, and they also play counter spells, I'm gonna wait to cast this Duress until I draw something that I really want to resolve. Because it can often be hard for my opponent to have 2 counters up in the same turn. Yeah, Ugin's definitely one of my picks for favorite Planeswalker in the set. He's super powerful. Is he a rare or is he a mythic? He's only a rare. Nice.
Well, that didn't pan out.
I think Thought Erasure is pretty okay. It's like annoying at times, but like the fact that it both costs 2 mana and is costs 2 mana and is 2 colors restricts it from going into everything like some other things are. So like this is a point in the game where, like, my opponent has a Teferi, I have basically nothing, they have a handful of cards, they have Chemist's Insights, like, that game's not going to end for, like, I don't know, let's say a dozen turns, but I'm not winning that game. Yeah, Kazminia's another one that's been reasonable. She's really kind of sweet against red aggro because she makes 2/2s and then makes it hard for them to kill the 2/2s, or makes it a lot of mana to kill the 2/2s. Lead on the black source this time in case we draw a Duress. Learn from our mistakes. Open to draw a third land for next turn. Elemental Whisperer, thank you for the 3-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. For keeping me employed here. Yeah, the fact that she makes their spells more expensive lets you catch up on an axis that you usually lose against those decks, which is like when your blue deck loses to Mono Red, you're usually losing with cards in your hand because you're not mana efficient enough. So she makes them less mana efficient, letting you catch back up in that way a little bit. She gains you a lot of tempo. Would not be surprised to see this get bounced here. I guess if they bounce it, I could Banefire him. Looking for lands here still. So they're tapped land, but at least it'll do. Hey, Apollo SCR, thank you very much for the brand new tier 1 sub. Hope your weekend's treating you well. Thanks for keeping me employed here. I bet you guys didn't even know we were playing Mardu Gates tonight, did ya? I hath the gift of speech yet again. Thanks for the 3 months, Whisper. So, like, I kind of want to draw a land here, but I also really don't mind drawing Duress, so... Wow, that's rude. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Alright. This is the part where they veto me. This feels like the part where they veto me. Rude. They bounced my treasure map that's about to flip now. Feels like the power play.
I'll protect you.
5th land, 5 mana Teferi. I assume we're losing Angrath here. The way they tap their mana implies they don't have another veto. Banefire, really? Okay, hopefully we rip into an untapped land here. They just have another land. That makes sense. Temple of Tilt. Temple of Tilt. Doo 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 pew pew pew.
Here we go.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, folks at home, if they didn't draw Thought Erasures, they'd have just drawn something else, right? They'd have just instead have drawn counter spells. Hey, High Speed Run, thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. Alright, I'm now thoughtless. Are you happy now? Are you happy you've taken all of the thoughts away? And it's gone. I mean, like, we're actually not in that bad of a spot right now. Like, this treasure map's about to flip, and, like, this one will do something too. This makes things a bit worse for us.
You'll thank me later. This might be a bad idea. You know what? I'm not done yet.
Wow, audio bug. Man, this night has just flown by. I was like, man, it's been 6 hours. Audio bug again. The restart here in a second. What are the odds they have a counterspell? What do we think? High, low? Let's find out. My wife is at the door. Hey, thank you very much, Skarkafar and DKG for the Prime Sport. All right, I love you. Hey, you want to bring me ice cream?
No, not really.
Okay, I love you anyways. She doesn't love me enough to bring me ice cream, chat. Oh. Sorry for the quick interruption. I'm going to restart the client really quick here so we can have audio again. These people are great. Buy their stuff. These people all so great. Buy their stuff. Hey, Sheriff, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. Back to regularly scheduled Magic Arena. Saw Red Right Metal made the cut. Excited to hear your thoughts on it. Put this towards it. Will do. The door opens out of the room. I am confused and scared. So if I sacrifice this, they don't draw a card, right? Because their thing is countered upon resolution. Way to be cheeky. Man, I forget what they're called offhand, but we bought these, they're like these little ice cream sandwiches that are chocolate around the outside, and they have caramel and a pretzel inside of them as well. And they are incredibly delicious. Hey, look, kill target Teferi. We watch you daily at my LGS. I own Dragon Knight Games, and we love yelling, hey, chat to one another. What do you think? Well, good to have you here. And thanks for putting me on in the shop. Hope you're having a great weekend. 5, 6, 7. Now, there is a reasonable chance here that they have another Teferi at this point, but I think this is definitely the play. And we are unfortunately short of dealing the 17 here. Again, I'm going to wait until the end of their turn to use the Treasure Cove. Just because I don't want these cards in my hand when they can play a discard spell. Although I guess they're going to be plussing this, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't even matter anymore.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
They do have Thief in their deck. Yep. So we're hoping to draw like Ugin or Huatli or Liliana would be a great draw. Liliana would double edict these. And by that, I mean they certainly have an absorb here, so it doesn't matter. We can give it the college best. Teferi dying is a moral victory. That's probably true. Alright, that's a Duress. Liliana. Am I getting draw step Duress? Stop it. Stop it right now. And they shocked, so they have veto. That's what that shock means. It means they have veto. Liliana. 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 Hey, thank you for the biddies luck. And congrats on the yob. We're dead here, right? They're gonna hit us with double thief next turn. I don't know that it would have helped during that particular game, but I do think I want the Legion Warboss in the sideboard for in the event that we hit Reclamation. I'm gonna cut these Banefires. Yeah, that was just the first match, wasn't it? What is the difference in value between a Warboss and a Krenko for that purpose? So, Warboss attacks for 1 the turn you play it, and attacks for 5 the turn after you play it, and then attacks for 7. Krenko attacks for nothing the turn you play it, 2 the turn after, and then 5 the turn after that. So Krenko takes longer to get going, so he's a little bit less aggressive. The entire 75 of the red-green deck can be foiled in Arena. Well, except for the basic lands, right? Warboss gives you a fast clock against Reclamation, which is something our deck definitely lacks. Yeah, I said he attacks for 2, and then he attacks for 5. What the deef? I've been thinking about something we need to say for 5 minutes, but have nothing. Here's hoping I'm more creative when Reclamation is banned. I also feel like some number of Sarkhan might not be terrible here. As far as, like, ways to close games out. I don't want to change too much, though. I do kind of feel like I want another Ugin, though, at the top end to, like, provide a string of cards, and Bantu seems a little mediocre. Another card I've been somewhat impressed with in decks like this in the past is Sarkhan Fireblood. Even though we don't have any dragons in our deck, the fact that this card can, like, sit there and churn through our removal that's dead or our extra lands in the late game is valuable. So I could see that being a reasonable card to consider later down the line. Krenko is definitely the flashier card if you have good support for him that comes up. Look at that. We traded a 1-spell hand for a different 1-spell hand. I guess I'll keep this one. Ethereal Games. I would love it for you to post your deck in the subs Discord. I'd love to give you feedback on it later, but I try not to look at decks mid-stream. There's just too much going on, and it takes a little bit too much time. Krenko would be better in a deck with 3-mana Domri. Why would it be better in a deck with 3-mana Domri? Because it makes Goblin slightly faster. I think Legion Warboss is probably still better on average, just because it starts attacking sooner. That's true, and we've hit good draws so far after this. That is terrifying. This card makes all of our sorcery speed removal and planeswalkers much, much worse. Well, they left that on top. That's good for us. Yep. And if I played Angrath and down-ticked him to take this and kill it, they would just kill him with whatever creature they have because it has haste guaranteed off of this. Would the creature land help? Maybe. I definitely want an Oathakaya for later. I am going to have Angrath take this one, because by Angrath taking this to kill it, I don't have to take damage from it. So this does 7 to them and it dies, so seems like a game win. Seems like a win for the home team. This is the part where they like play Carnage Tyrant and we die. Well, if Ravenous Chupacabra is the best thing they have to play here, that's probably incredibly good for us. Oh, jeez. The Oath triggered too. That's so good. God bless you, little Oathakaya. I'm going to keep a treasure map here. I think I'm currently in a spot in my life where I want more card advantage. This other treasure map's going to flip here soon. Let me get this one going too. Hey, my mom is cool. Thanks for the 4 months of Twitch Prime support. Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday night. Good to have you here. We've already got huge tracts of land. I would like some action. Am I supposed to mortify this? I'm probably supposed to mortify this, huh? It just, like, makes all of my planeswalkers better. That's probably what I'm supposed to do. I think I'm at a point that I'm just like digging for card advantage spells. Like Liliana.
I do hope you make this better.
Yeah, red cards that can't be countered have a red border now, and spells that are copies of a spell have a blue border, which is sweet. I would love to draw a card. Thank you for asking.
Use for you later.
Oh, yeah.
Do not.
Oh, that feels good. This card is such a big booty, too. There is a read the bone style effect, actually. They're just more expensive. Treasure map, these decks tend to lack things to do in the early turns, is what it comes down to. So treasure map is kind of filler to give you stuff to do with your mana.
Good help is easy to find in war.
This Karn token's gonna be Xbox huge. Get it? Nice 6/6. Here's my 7/7. Swole token, bros.
Putrid, but
And before anyone says anything, yes, I intentionally plus my Liliana before I cast Kaya's Wrath, because I wanted to draw another card.
waste not what they were allowed to say. I've learned much from your death.
Allow me to introduce you to
Yeah, it gained me another life too, technically. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh, I didn't notice. This opponent's actually in Diamond. Which is kind of sweet. They're playing a bit of a brew. I'd like my last Wrath here, I think. I probably don't mind Despark and Lyra. What do I want to cut? This is 4 cards I potentially want to cut. Do I just cut the Bedecks? Like I have sweepers. Like it's a 2-mana removal spell, but I'm not sure that the efficiency is that important. I probably don't want to get rid of Vraska's Contempt because they're likely a Rekindling Phoenix deck, and Contempt exiles nicely. We got dumpstered by Esper in the first match. We're currently up a game against the Jund Brew. Maybe an Ugin. Huatli could be a little bit hard to defend. Why is Karn medium? Karn draws me cards. And, like, I feel like I need to keep a critical mass of things that draw cards. I think I'm more inclined to keep Karn than Huatli. This hand obviously lacks white mana, but I'm on the draw. I have Treasure Map. Their deck is like mid-rangey, but not that aggressive, I don't think. So I think I can stumble for a turn or two. I guess that's true. We did see this card. Never didn't have it. Magic's a tough game. Don't use like greedy, Chalky. What does the math say? Mathematically speaking, how much am I gaining by playing 17 black sources versus 18? And I like that you're pointing out 17 black sources isn't enough. Look how many white sources I'm playing. If you're concerned about casting Kaya's Wrath, wouldn't you want to play an extra white source, not an extra black source? So I think if you're worried about greedy mana, your conclusion's being drawn in the wrong direction. That's incredibly rude. I'm gonna Contempt this one, and we can Angrath the other one. Maybe, I guess Angrath dies then. The Reclamation Sage. Maybe I'll just Angrath him plus this turn. I was gonna write something clever for a buzzword command, but I got nothing at the moment. I'm gonna kill the Branch Walker rather than the Reclamation Sage here, because I don't want them to get this back with Fine Finality this turn. Okay, but here's the other question, Chalky. So what you're positing is your statement that you want to change my deck is based on a 1 or 2 of in my sideboard. So you're saying you want to retool the mana base for a 1 or 2 of out of the sideboard. And you think that's a worthwhile or meaningful change to make? Because I would argue adjusting my mana to gain 3% to cast a card that's only coming in some of the time isn't ideal or isn't good deck building. Yeah, Bedevil really isn't a card that you have to cast on 3. I agree. I do really like leading questions. The best teachers only ever ask leading questions. If you have questions about the percentages we're talking about with regards to mana math, you're new to Magic or you just haven't seen it before, the exclamation point mana command in chat that links to Frank Karsten's article on Channel Fireball is kind of a good go-to summary, even if you don't have a good math background, for explaining some best practices when it comes to building mana bases. What do you think about the Gates deck right now? I was not impressed with the Gates deck when we played it recently. It feels like it felt like the mid-range and the control decks in the format got better tools for keeping up with the Gates in terms of card advantage, and the Gates deck did not get similarly good tools to stay ahead of them. That card's really bad against a Reclamation deck. Next turn, we're going to slam a Karn and just start down-ticking and hoping our Karn structs can race whatever they have that's going on. Not only just Planeswalkers, but the new Narset Planeswalker is incredibly popular because it's very good, which her static ability splash hates the crap out of the good cards in the Gates deck, right? She denies you from drawing cards on Krasis and Guild Summit, which is important. I feel like every deck that can make blue mana with some consistency should be playing 2 to 3 Narsets right now. So how do you draw the line, though? Cutting one more black source would also 3% decrease any given turn for casting Cry and Bedevil. Like, what's your personal cutoff? I don't know. It depends on a number of factors, Chalky. There isn't just like a hard and fast rule. I always do this or I never do that. Like, for instance, if the format was in a place where I felt being able to cast Cry on turn 3 was really important, that was going to come up a lot, then I would be more concerned about it. But I feel like the format's not in that place right now. Excuse me, and maybe it'll get there, but it currently isn't, in my opinion. At least not from what I've experienced or seen. Nice, Archimedes. Tyrant Scorn has been really sweet.
Has shocking repercussions.
Real hits Planeswalkers, right? Yeah, he does. Gosh, that's rude.
This will not be early. Please do not do that.
I think I'm looking for a 6th land at this point. I want to plus my Karn before I Contempt this, because I want them to make the decision regarding the Karn plus before they know their Planeswalker is dying.
Don't worry, I won't rain on your parade.
I'm gonna update the buzzword command real quick. I've got a good idea for it. You gave me a good idea. Thank you, Donovan. Alright, so they've flipped Azcanta. So probably dead from here. I guess that's not strictly true. Let's scry with this. I might keep him. He's cute. I'm gonna down tick this. I'm gonna play second Karn and down tick him.
Some solutions must be
And this might get sabotaged, but then like they don't have a sabotage for my Despark later, so maybe I'm supposed to bait with Huatli there. Like play Huatli into the sabotage, and then I can Karn into the sabotage next turn. If I had to venture a guess, I bet this Teamer Reclamation matchup is actually worse for us than the blue-green matchup is, because this matchup is going to have removal for Legion Warboss post-board. Alright. If we can find a Bedazzle, we're actually in a good spot this game. One Bedazzle, please. Rats. That being said, without a Bedazzle, we're swimming uphill, like we're swimming upstream against this Azcanta. Yep. So they have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, so they can do this for 5. If they have Reclamation this turn, they can do it for 6. And then once the expansion, I just don't have enough pressure that the number of cards that they're going to draw means that we're just going to get buried. Alright. 2 more shots at Bedazzle. Huatli's been okay. Just okay. I don't know that we've really played any matchup where she's stellar. She was good against Esper control. It might be right to hold up Mortify here, but at the same time, I think I just need to put a clock into play. So I'm going to go ahead and jam. Because, like, they're probably jump-starting this Chemist's Insight. Because if they find a Reclamation, they can do some real damage next turn.
You should surrender now.
Come, sing the song of fame.
Sing the Song of Fame. Let's stand up for a bit. They discarded Fiery Cannonade, but I have so many 2/2s, opponent. Why would you discard your card that kills my 2/2s? Are you telling me you're not afraid of my Ugin tokens? I got you, Persip. I think this is probably going to be the last one with Mardu. I feel like if you ran into a bunch of matchups where your Kaya's Wraths are good and have text, this deck is probably fine. But at least what I've been playing against in Platinum on the ladder, there's just far too much Reclamation and Esper decks for this deck to keep up, it feels like. The Reclamation decks are just too hard to interact with while also keeping them down. If you go directly to my website, Austin, jeffhoagland.com, and click live stream, there's a deck queue button there. Android, the Twitch app on Android doesn't like to load bit.ly links for some reason. If you're in the Twitch app, you can also hit stream information. There's a deck queue button there that will work. See, like, this hand has Disruption, but it doesn't have a clock. But I don't really have that many clocks, so I can't really mulligan to a clock aggressively. Well, it's not about ramping so much as just the density of our threats isn't enough to play through the density of the opponent's threats in the Esper matchups. And more specifically, the Esper deck just has better card advantage than we do. Like, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, and Chemist's Insight and Search for Azcanta, those cards are just like, they're basically on another level than we are. The mobile apps on Twitch are... I don't think that's strictly true, Gilger. In fact, I would assume the Twitch app not loading bit.ly links is a security feature that's working as intended. I would assume the Twitch app not loading forward links is something that someone thought about and then did on purpose. What does Reclamation Esper? The green-red Sarkhan deck is my pick for my favorite off-meta deck right now that feels good against both Nexus and Reclamation while still feeling like it has decent game against the field. And if you're wondering what that deck is, you didn't see us play with it before. If you head on over to my website and click Standard Decks, there's a green-red Sarkhan button where you will find my current deck list for that deck, as well as videos of me playing it.
Let's start by taking you out of the equation.
Well, one video of me playing. We're going to get to it again at some point soon. I want to let this scry resolve before I bedevil this.
Genius inventor? I got it all.
Because I want them to not know that this is dying. Actually, do I want to bedevil this? I would actually rather Spyglass this, right? Because right now I have Mortify to check Reclamation and Bedevil to check this. So if I burn my Bedevil here, I then don't have an answer to Niv Mizzet. Yeah, sweet. And this is the upside to this too. Is this gets both Rals basically, right? Tags both of them. So, Austin, the important thing to understand about my website is that my website isn't just a static, I post the deck list and then forget about them. So if I have changes that I'm confident are good to one of the decks that are posted up there, I make the changes. So all of those pages are living pages. His passive does still hit me this way. That is true. Which, again, kind of punishes me for not having a more proactive plan. Let's attack their red mana. Is there a way to know when I update the decks on my website? I frequently post about it in the subs Discord server or on Twitter if it's a meaningful update, but I don't have like an RSS feed or anything like that, unfortunately. Maybe I should look into setting up one of those. I would bet dollars to donuts there's a WordPress plugin for setting up an RSS feed. WordPress has a plugin for everything. It's wonderful. Rail Storm Conduit. You can even make it automatically add items if you update a page. That's sweet, Chucky. Unfortunately, that wouldn't work for deck list updates because the deck list updates are actually handled through the Stream Decker website. So the Stream Decker folks are awesome, and they wrote me a plugin to display the Stream Decker decks embedded nicely on my WordPress page because they're great. Yeah, I think I want to bedazzle another red source here. I get kind of punished if they find an Azcanta, but I also like stone raining people. I occasionally watch streams on Twitch, so that means I like stone raining people. It's a very visceral feeling. I feel like this Rakdos artwork would be better if he just like had jazz hands going on. Yep. Wow, super punished for not hitting the red source more aggressively, huh? The BK Burger. Thank you for the Twitch Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. So, here's the problem with red-white land destruction. I know I sound like a broken record, but I promise you, Wilderness Reclamation is to blame for every issue this format could possibly have, basically. Because Reclamation is a thing that exists in this format, enchantments are an incredibly targeted card type, which means fringe enchantment decks like the land destruction deck are basically unplayable because it's impossible to keep your key enchantment in play against any reasonable deck. We are just super dead here. They're gonna flip their Azcanta and bury us. Yeah, that felt tough. To give a concise wrap up at the end here, like I like to give for every deck, to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and why. I would expect this deck to be good in matchups where Kaya's Wrath is good. The one matchup we won was against a Jund mid-range deck where our sweepers were excellent. The problem is, at least where I'm at in Plat on the ladder, there are a ton of both Wilderness Reclamation decks in the format, as well as Esper control decks. And Reclamation, not only do we have a bunch of interaction that's not meaningful, meaning our deck is bad game one, and then post-board we don't get that much better, although Warboss does help a little bit, is that against Esper as well, our card advantage just can't keep up with Teferi's and Search for Azcantas and Chemister's insights, and we just get buried in a way that we just can't keep up. So I just don't think there's enough creature decks in the format that care about these sweepers and removal to make a deck like this be feasible generically. I think if you expect very specifically like mono white and Sultai midrange and stuff like that, these creature decks, this could be reasonable, but that's not my experience playing matches right now, at least at this point in the season. What do you think about Fall of Thran and Ashiok for land destruction? Sounds incredibly fragile. Sounds fun when it works, but probably not particularly consistent.